First and foremost, shop less. We don't do better by buying greener products. We do better by buying fewer things. That's the most important thing you can do, is reduce your level of consumption, because it's the invisible consumption. It's the 6,000 liters of water that go into making me a shirt that I don't see when I pick it up at the corner store, but that really does have an impact on our world. Buy local. If you spend $1 at Walmart, 80 cents wings away to their corporate offices overseas, most likely, or in Arkansas, and we never see it again. And if one of you has an independent local business and I spend my $1 in your store, you turn around and you spend it locally. And every time you do that, it means more and better jobs where we live. It means increasing property values where we live. It means more of the things that we need being grown or made or developed here in our own neighborhood. It improves the strength of our local economy across the board. So it's good for us in 100 different ways. That dollar you spend locally pays you back. Go low tech. High-tech solutions are expensive. They require rare materials. Anybody who's got a cell phone here that's got coltan in it that was mined by children in the Congo. But it's invisible to us. And then when we return to looking at lower tech scenarios, lower tech things can be repaired rather than replaced. If my power comes from a windmill at the end of my street and something goes wrong with it, I might be able to fix it myself. Wow, is that empowering. And if it comes from a nuclear power plant 150 miles away and the lights go out, well then, I'm just SOL, aren't I? Learn about harmful ingredients in the different products that we use. Ladies, almost all of our lipstick contains lead, and our mascara contains mercury and other things like that that are incredibly toxic. Sure, you've got to die sometime. You don't have to pay somebody for the opportunity to do so. So making some of those changes is the first place that we make a difference to our footprint on the planet. Number 2, eat lower on the food chain. I'm not going to convince anybody who's not a vegetarian already to become a vegetarian. Fine. Let's say that 1965, there were 3.5 billion people on the planet, and now there's 7 billion. We've doubled the number of people. In 1965, we ate 9 billion livestock animals. Last year, we ate 57 billion livestock animals. 2/3 of the agricultural land on the planet is currently used to grow feed for animals to feed to people in a world that a lot of people don't have enough food. So you're not ready to give up meat, fine. Try not to eat meat 2.7 times a day like the average North American. Cut that down to 1 a day. Personally, I'm not entirely ready to be vegetarian myself. I still eat meat once a week or so. Sustainable, what are called default livestock systems, where livestock eat the food that we can't, like the grasses and things like that, rather than food that we could, would still provide everybody on the planet the equivalent of about 3 burgers a week. It would give us that much more food to work with. But if we're going to all eat steak every day, remember the beef industry alone, just the cows, only the cattle, are about 10% of our global greenhouse gas emissions altogether. I encourage people to drive less or not drive at all. The average North American family of 4 spends $14,000 for the privilege of having a car, and the car is the leading cause of death for North Americans aged 0 to 38. You don't have to have several tons of steel parked in front of your house to go down to the corner store for a can of Coke. And Hamilton has an excellent car share program. If you need to get, the big grocery shop or whatever, you can do that without the ongoing expense of having your own vehicle. The more you can cut that out, the better. Much more important than both of those things, do not fly. I feel so terrible that friends and people that I love on Facebook are crowing about these vacations they're excited to take. Oh, I always wanted to see Spain or Rome. Well, one return airfare from Toronto to Rome and back, is more carbon footprint on the planet than an entire year of driving and eating in the wasteful North American way added together. Put that another way, another stat. International shipping, all of those goods that come from China into our Walmarts, 97% of that by weight is carried by container ship. and 3% of that by weight is carried by airplanes, and that 3% of the weight that is carried by airplanes is 80% of the emissions. We cannot continue to fly. And it doesn't matter which one of those things you pick. Your job needs you to have your car so that you can get to work. I'm not telling you to give up your car. Fine, pick another one. Doesn't matter where you start, it just matters that you pick a side. That you do something to begin to make the size of our footprint smaller, and that's all that I'm asking any of you to do. And if you're like me, you're going to find that by reducing the size of your footprint, you feel healthier, you have more time for things that you care about, like playing with my kids. I have less financial pressure on me because all of the low-tech, simple solutions and the simpler diet I have, and etc., constantly increases the value of my life that I get out of the day-to-day living it. So really, my message is a message of hope while things look so dark. Because when we clue into the fact that there are upsides to going green and actually doing things that make a difference, that's the point that it gets easier to convince other people that we can actually start to turn the corner. Eventually, it's going to be turned for us. I think it would be wise for us to turn before we run out of stuff rather than after. We are children of the earth, and we come from different places. We are sculpted and formed by the hands of time. We are children of the earth, men and women of all races. We all have the same needs, and each play our part. We are children of the earth, and we owe everything to her. If we take care of her, she'll provide for